Hello everyone, welcome. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is part 7 of the Soul Origins and 7 Rays of Light video series that I've been doing. If you haven't yet watched part 1 through 6, go ahead and watch those videos first in order to truly understand this video, because everything's sort of layered on top of each other. I'll put the links to that playlist below. So in the last video, we started talking about source souls and the 7 pools of source consciousness, how a soul in its evolution and journey, basically the journey of a soul, is to reach higher and higher vibration, frequency, and consciousness in order to sort of make its way back to source and find these 7 pools of source consciousness is what came through. But it's kind of like this energy that is like that ultimate energy that a source needs to reach. And once it reaches it, it can merge back to source and basically serves as source souls until their original universe is done with, basically. Source souls go where they are needed. They go where source is needed anywhere within a universe, within universes, because source is, what was explained to me, is outside of a universe and has created different universes. So we were talking about source souls and their role in this ascension. We mentioned that in the past, in Earth years past, Jesus was a source soul. The ancient gods and goddesses of Egypt were source souls. So they come to any planet, and specifically Earth, to help in the shift in some way. Jesus was preparing humanity to hold on to faith, hold that higher consciousness and vibration despite moving into lower vibration and frequency and a linear timeline. And the ancient gods and goddesses of Egypt came to the planet to help bring that knowledge to the planet at a time in where the vibration was higher so that we could access that knowledge and information and techniques and tools and be able to use that as kind of a blueprint in knowing where we are headed, because right now we're in that lower vibration, and when we rise up into the higher vibration, we'll be in a place where we sort of meet the same energy that ancient Egypt existed upon, and it'll be basically, they left us a map, they left us a blueprint on how to utilize these techniques of energy, as well as all different types of knowledge that came through during that time. In this video, we're going to just continue the conversation and dive a little bit more into these source souls that are coming online at this time, because in this ascension process, in this journey towards higher frequency, Source sent some of its source souls to the planet to help during this shifting time, to help raise consciousness, vibration, frequency, but also keep in mind that not only Source wasn't the only one to send souls. There are star seeds, other galactic beings, higher dimensional, higher frequency beings that sent souls to have incarnations here. The 144,000, which is basically transferred consciousness. I don't think I spoke about that in a YouTube video, but over on Patreon, I spoke about how the 144,000, this information came through one of my readings for a client, in where basically what came through was the 144,000 are galactic beings, higher dimensional beings who agreed to have their consciousness transferred over while they're still having their galactic lives. They are suspended in a way in where at this time they had their consciousness transferred over to having a physical incarnation on the Earth planet to help in this ascension process, to help at this time, at this moment in time. And when they transition out of this experience, their consciousness will be returned to their galactic incarnations, basically, and that has a lot to do with Commander Ashtar and the Ashtar Command and that sort of galactic federation. But anyway, maybe I'll talk about that in a different video. But basically what I'm saying is there are a lot of moving parts. There are so many higher vibrational and higher dimensional beings that sent their energy and their souls to the planet at this moment, including Source, to help in the overall shift. Everyone's playing a part, everyone's playing a role, and it's orchestrated at such a greater level than we can ever really think of or conceive of. So I'm going to be reading what came through. All of this came through in writing first, so I'm going to post the written transmission over on my blog. I'll put the link to the blog below if you want to read along with this video. So what came through in the last video, I'm just going to go over again. They basically said that in ancient Egypt, the gods and goddesses were source souls that were sent to the planet to forecast the coming energy of the planet. They opened pyramids, energy knowledge, and universal knowledge to help guide the future civilizations, meaning basically us right here at this moment in time. They recorded their open knowledge for the future to find and use during important shifts, much like the one that your collective is going through right now. These ancient Egyptian gods and goddesses were playing out missions on Earth directed by Source, planned in advance. Energy opened onto your planet during a time when your planet held higher vibration, so that the future, meaning us right now, could open this knowledge of the past of ancient Egypt and connect it to where we are right now and where we are headed. They said that everything, the layout of your physical experience on Earth as a collective, is laid out in advance. Remember, you entered into the game of your physical incarnation. Everything is planned perfectly and in perfect timing, like a well-executed orchestra. Your collective is playing out an experience that was forecasted many, many, many Earth years ago. So my first question after that was, I asked, what does this have to do, or what does this have to say about destiny, free will, and our own choices? Are they all planned out in advance too? And what came through was yes and no. The collective experience is planned out in advance by a greater energy, not whole specifics, but general greater energy. This refers us back to the information that we provided in the Convoluted Time series. If you haven't yet watched the Convoluted Time videos that I did, I think I did 2 parts. I'll link those videos below as well. Go ahead and watch those videos. So they said that this is connecting us back to those Convoluted Time videos and how the energy of your planet moves through cycles of birth, cycles of expansion, contraction, and restricted linear timeline portals. So basically, in the Convoluted Time videos, I have a diagram of how time as we perceive it, or the energy on the planet as we perceive it, kind of looks in a spiral sort of way, in these loops or cycles of birthing, expansion, contraction, and then into these linear timeline portals where we kind of are disconnected from source and source energy, while when we are expanding and contracting the greater energy, we are more connected to the greater source energy that runs through the universe. Again, go ahead and watch those videos from Convoluted Time, those 2 videos. I speak all about that. So they next said that these greater energy movements, meaning these cycles that I spoke about in the Convoluted Time videos, they dictate, or they sort of dictate, how the energy of the collective will play out. Meaning, in those cycles, when the energy of the collective or the energy of the planet on a planetary scale is moving into the birthing energy, that birthing energy is going to play out on the planet. When the energy moves into the expansion energy, that expansion energy is going to play out on the planet. When the energy of that on a planetary scale is moving into the contraction energy, that contraction energy is going to play out on the planet. And in the linear timeline portal energy, that energy is going to play out on the planet. So there's this greater energy that dictates how the energy is being played out on the planet, basically. They said that the way that this greater energy plays out exactly, though, is up to you as a collective. And furthermore, up to you in how you want your experience to play out on an individual level. So like I said, even though we have this greater energy that sort of dictates how the energy is going to, or what energy is kind of playing out in the collective, how exactly that energy plays out is up to us in terms of how we mold the energy and how we use the energy, how we direct that energy. So like I said, if the energy on that greater cycling of planetary energy is in that expansion energy or contraction energy that's coming to the planet, how we can utilize that expansion or contraction energy in very different ways throughout the cycle. So the way that we may, as a collective, utilize that expansion energy in one cycle may be different in the next cycle of expansion energy, and how we utilize that energy and how we manifest with that energy, with that greater energy. And also they're saying on an individual level, we are also utilizing that same greater energy, the same greater cycles of energy wherever we are within those cycles. And we can use that, we can direct it, we can manifest with it. So it's about being that conscious creator and utilizing that greater energy to our advantage or to our disadvantage. They go on to say that your destiny is opened on a non-physical soul level before your incarnation. But once you incarnate, you have the free will to choose or not choose your experience to play out as you wish. But your overall energy of destiny, much like that overarching energy cycle of the collective, is determined by your birth date and your birth time. You choose as a non-physical soul prior to birth exactly when you will incarnate, because you are choosing the energy in which you will birth into and the energy that will guide your incarnation. So if we are looking on a micro scale, we have that greater energy of the cycles of the planet, that expansion, contraction, linear timeline portal energy. I'll put a screenshot of what I was talking about in the convoluted time video, but basically that's the overarching energy. And when you kind of dissect it and move a little bit inward into the micro, then we have the astrology, we have, those different levels of energy within that greater energy. So if we're in an expansive energy of that, in that greater cycle, within that expansion of energy, there's still going to be, kind of different types of energy within that. In the time that we are right now, we have astrology, we have the different, birth months and how that dictates our, that's like further energy that dictates our energy in a way as well. And that in particular, they're talking about the 3D incarnation. However, they next say that we speak of this for non-knowing and non-conscious souls in the collective who open into riding the wave as it is presented to them, meaning again that 3D mindset, that 3D incarnation. They said, for knowing and conscious individuals who have broken out of the paradigms and matrix style of your planet's incarnation confines, you open into a new and exciting path. You open into the path of soul missions and energy offered by higher vibrational energy that surpasses the energy dictated by birth date and time. The energy of birth date and time is opened within your physical reality, whereas the energy of higher vibrations opens into the non-physical energy that is connected very much to the collective unconscious energy that we pointed out and spoke about in the Convoluted Time video series. The unconscious energy refers to that life force energy of source that runs through your entire universe outside of your physical incarnation's experience, but as well as within that physical incarnation's experience. However, as we spoke about in the Convoluted Time series, when the collective or the planet is in these linear timeline portals, you are more disconnected to that life force energy of source in your physical incarnation. And that's kind of where we are right now. We are kind of at the tail end of those linear timeline portals. And the Ascension is basically birthing into a more expanded, overarching energetics part of the energetic cycle, so that we can begin to incorporate and integrate more of that life force source energy in our physical incarnations. They go on to say, let's go back to the source souls that we stated would be coming online in the years to come. Some are already online. Others are beginning their journey. All of these source souls will come online at perfect timing, exactly when they need to. You will know that you are one of these source souls because you will open into a very great, very interesting journey in your Earth's incarnation. As a collective, you will see great shifts in the movement towards a more awakened consciousness in your collective, with many of these source souls taking on missions within this greater movement. Many of you, not only source souls, but light workers and starseeds and other heart-based beings, will find yourselves intertwined and connected together, working on your separate missions, but also working together for the greater good. Energy of war duality will shift into energy of oneness and love. Energy of duality will still exist, but we say war duality because it will shift from a warring, chaotic mind duality into a more balanced state of duality. Duality is a foundation of your physical incarnation's experience on Gaia at this time, and it will not be going anywhere. It will simply shift into a desired duality, rather than the undesirable duality that you currently have open. Manifestations that open from a desired, balanced state of duality opens into new experiences that consciously open you into expansion in higher vibrational energy. Manifestations that open from an undesirable, warring duality opens you into new experiences that unconsciously open you into expansion, but often lead down these lower vibrational and negative roads. As with everything, the 3D states of duality will become stronger and stronger until it eventually combusts in on itself. The 3D reality will rise up to become stronger, while the energy of 5D New Earth reality will also become stronger and stronger until it will eventually split from the 3D reality. But you are still in the stages of them existing side by side, not fully split, meaning 3D and 5D, even 4D, since that's kind of the portal between 3D and 5D, are still existing or coexisting together. This is duality in and of itself, as they exist in the same plane, and they will get farther and farther apart until this ultimate duality, that 3D versus 5D, will completely split and open into their own realities in what you would call separate from each other. With the rising of source souls on your planet opening into 5D, will come the rise of false source souls on your planet as well. Some may call them false prophets. This kind of contributes more to this type of dualism between 3D and 5D. So they're saying more of this dualism between 3D and 5D will occur, blurring the lines between them, meaning that with the rise of these so-called false prophets, it will blur the lines between 3D and 5D in a time in where 3D and 5D is becoming even more polarized from each other. It's starting to break off from each other, but it will, these, energy of false prophets and things that come along with that sort of blurred energy will maybe have some people second guessing the ascension, have some people second guessing New Earth and what's happening because of the rise of this type of energy, which kind of brings a negative outlook of the ascension, if you will. And so I asked why. Why will these so-called false prophets sort of blur the lines between 3D and 5D? And what came through is because lost souls of 3D will see the 5D energy rising and will want to take part, either forcefully, meaning that they want to take part, but they have not done the work to be where they see other people. So they want to skip the line, so to speak. And so they make themselves into a type of figure to kind of play that role in however they're supposed to be playing it. I don't know. Or they said because of lower vibrational intentions trying to pull the energy of 5D down. So I guess it could be either, that person who has not done the work, but they want to be there already, so they're going to try to play the part without having done the work. Or maybe that lower vibrational energy of 3D trying to pull the energy of 5D down, like they said. And then I asked anything else that they want to say about this. And what came through was yes. They said, when we say so-called prophets in reference to source souls, so in the last video, I think what came through was that in terms of source souls, what had come through was that some may refer to them as prophets, some may refer to them as heart-based beings. So they kind of want to address this. And then I also spoke about just now how some false prophets are going to come forward in this ascension. But they said, when we say prophets in reference to source souls, we use this term very loosely. They said prophets is a very old-fashioned word, a word that we have taken from your past. But moving into the future, these source souls will rise and open into new roles that will go above and beyond the definition of prophet. So basically, it's like the role of these source souls, there wasn't any other word that I could choose from, maybe in my vocabulary, but prophet came through because that was the word that they had to choose from in my vocabulary. But the feeling that I had was that it's like the source souls coming online is about a new form of energy. It's about a new form of, like how in the old times there were the prophets. It's like it's something new now. It's something different. It's something that it's going to like move into its own. It's just going to move into its new creation as a mission of people, if that makes sense. It's not going to be so how Jesus was so, he was this grand figure. I feel more like the source souls now. They have grand missions, but they're not going to be viewed so much as these grand figures. It's just going to be seamlessly integrated into moving into New Earth. It's going to be seamlessly integrated into the collective, and how it's like I feel like some, yes, will definitely be these grander leaders to help shift all the moving organizations and stuff like that in terms of leadership. But there are still going to be those who have missions that work more with the communities and work, at different levels within the collective to reach everyone. Everyone has to be reached. So they're grand missions within the different aspects of the collective. So the energy that comes to me is just like a seamless integration. It's not going to be so black and white in terms of like, it's not going to be an idle thing. It's because that's very 3D. It's going to be, it's like they're part of the community. It's not that they're separate at all. It's seamless. It just is. What came through was that these source souls will help to move the collective into 5D and open many people in the collective to higher consciousness, internal empowerment, and knowledge held within that when put together will open doors to new earth that cannot be opened by one soul alone, but must be opened by many. Not source souls alone, because source did not send its souls to shift the planet by themselves. What's the use of having a collective experience if source were to override the experience? No, source sent just enough of its souls to gather other souls and collectively open inner empowerment in others so that, as a collective, together, you open the many doors to 5D New Earth. So like I was saying in my last video, Source did not send an overwhelming amount of Source souls to the planet at this time, because if it did, we'd already be in the Ascension, we'd already be in New Earth, because it would override the experience. Source sent just enough Source souls to kind of play the necessary parts to help oil, it's like showing me to help oil the moving parts. And get things moving along, but it's not going to overtake the whole Ascension. It's not going to overtake the journey. It's still, Source still does not want to directly affect the experience, but it will do what it can because it knew that it was needed at this time. So they go on to say that in terms of opening the doors to New Earth 5D, you must do this as a collective experience. Source sent its souls to simply remind you of who you truly are, so that you can get to a place of taking the next step in the greater shift into 5D, inner ascension, and opening up closer to Source within. Source souls work alongside the starseeds, the 144,000, and other heart-based individuals on the planet to help reel in collective souls who are lost and trying to find their way. You all make up the strong wall of energy making its way to New Earth, carving the path for many to follow. You are on the leading edge of creation, and in your journey of one step and then the next and the next and the next, you are pushing that leading edge into the unknown and undiscovered realms, at least to your 3D collective conscious mind, towards 5D New Earth. The reason why we are speaking to you about the Source souls is to understand who you truly are and the power that you hold as a creator being. You are more than your physical incarnations and matrix-style illusions of your 3D reality. You are souls making the journey to Source itself. You are souls making their way to the water supply. You are souls opening to expansion in every way. Many of you will believe that you have something more to offer and desire to offer more, but will not believe that you are anything more than your seemingly ordinary, same old life and self. It is time to step out of believing that you are living a life of limitations and step into a life that expands so much greater than you can ever conceive. Many of you are slumbering starseeds, part of the 144,000 galactic consciousness of souls, light workers, light holders, and some even source souls. You have all come in with a greater mission to help in this transition of Gaia into New Earth Gaia, and it is time to awaken. When you awaken, you step into your purpose of awakening others. Stand firm in the knowledge you hold. Follow not what is expected, but what your inner heart desires. You are playing a very important role that has been prophesied many, many, many Earth years ago. We, Source, and many other physical and non-physical beings are waiting eagerly to see how you, as a collective, play out the energy that is destined. Remember, only that overarching energy is destined. But how it comes to take shape is completely up to you as a collective. Understanding who you truly are will open the energy of your individual destiny and role in the greater Earth collective shift. You and your hard work and long journeys are finally opening into the energy that opens your soul mission, your destiny, and journey back to Source. We are forecasting the energy of New Earth 5D by the overarching planet's energetic cycle. On the macro scale, Gaia is birthing New Earth right now. Your individual contributions to the birthing process is important and not overlooked. No matter how big or how small, your contributions are needed. Many are gathering to contribute and help Gaia during this time, of and within the Earth, and many not of the Earth. It takes the entire universe to help a single planet give birth into a new dimension, and in oneness, we are all strengthened by your individual contribution. I asked, many will ask, how can I contribute? How can I help? And I asked Abe if they can offer any guidance to this. And what came through was yes. Central to contributing is understanding how your energy affects the entire universe. Opening this knowledge of the many births of the universe down to where you are as a fractal image and reflection of Source, a micro aspect of Source, born so that Source may understand and know itself better, opens you up to understanding your place in oneness. Meaning that the purpose, of bringing forward this information of the 7 rays of light, especially in parts 4, 5, and 6, and this part 7, in terms of the universal energetic cycle of the physical incarnation and how us as a human incarnation is part of this greater cycle of macro and micro energy cycling within itself, creating your own individual universe while still being part of a greater universe of the macro scale and smaller universes within your micro. This information is important for you to understand where you are, your place in this energy of oneness, in the energy that makes up the entire universe. And by understanding your placement in the entire universe, you understand your individual contribution to the entire universe, but mostly your individual contribution to this ascension process and how you are directly affecting Gaia and the birthing process into New Earth 5D. You're also directly influencing and affecting your individual ascension and your journey back to Source within your own soul's journey. They go on to say that in understanding your place in oneness, you open up energy that helps create New Earth and a higher vibrational universe. When you resist your true place in oneness by opening lower vibrational energy, you open up destructive energy that hinders the birthing process. The universe that you create for yourself in your physical incarnations, although an illusion, that energy of the universe that you create in your physical incarnations feeds back to Source and ultimately trickles back down to Gaia and yourself as a human being living on Gaia. The energy exists in the physical and non-physical realities, both in your 3D experience and outside of your 3D experience. Meaning that even in this illusionary experience here, having a physical incarnation on Earth, even though this is sort of this virtual reality illusion, the energy that we are cycling within our own individual universes within this experience, within this virtual reality experience, still affects outside of this illusion, still affects outside of this so-called game. The energy, so if you imagine putting that VR set on, the energy that you have within that game is still being filtered out into when you take off that VR game. It's still going to exist because it's energy. So it's kind of bringing our attention to that. They also said, however, the manifestations of the energy that you are working with exist as physical manifestations in the illusion of your 3D Earth experience and incarnation only. Meaning that, again, when you have that VR headset on, like that's the physical manifestations. It's similar to that. So when you have that headset on, you can see a new reality. That's like your manifestations, if you will, with having a headset on. It's the same way. We are just, our physical manifestations here on Earth is within that VR game. And then they say that the physical manifestations do not exist outside of your 3D Earth experience or outside that VR game, but the energy still does. So basically what I just said. They go on to say, we are energy of oneness. There is no barrier. We are open anywhere and everywhere and nowhere. We are fed your best and worst energy. What we do with it does not matter, but know that in every energetic occurrence, exchange, or creation is an equal and opposite. What you give out is not only what you receive back, but what trickles back to you through all of the other macro parts of you. It affects Source, the Great Central Sun, the 7 rays that extend from the Great Central Sun, the galactic sun, the solar sun, the elements of dimensions such as your planets and especially Gaia, only to be received back to you and then filtered into your micro, the manifestations that come from you. Your energy runs through everything in the universe because you are the micro of everything in the universe. And your energy is like a boomerang that when given out is returned back. This is a law of your universe, and there is no way around it. Use this to your advantage and open the energy that you not only desire to receive back, but desire to spread throughout the universe. And that's it that I have for the 7 Rays of Light series. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions over on my Patreon page, if the members there have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment there or leave your question there, and we're going to dive deeper into the 7 Rays of Light over there. I hope this 7 Rays of Light series was helpful for you in clarifying some things, amplifying energy within you. I just feel very much that they wanted to bring this information forward to help empower you in stepping forward in your purpose and your mission and recognizing who you truly are on a soul level, understanding your origins, understanding your journey as a soul, understanding how your experience in the physical affects your soul in so many ways. It affects this greater aspect of you that is unbelievable. And when we understand and truly understand who we are in this greater aspect, it's like we can bring in all that knowledge, we can bring in all that power, all that energy, that source life force energy into where we are now and allow that or have that move, I see it just moving us into our purpose and mission, or further along in your ascension path, your journey, wherever you are, any expansion that needs to open up for you, it helps you to open up into that expansion and really moves and opens your soul up in so many ways. This time right now, where we are in this whole entire journey, in this ascension, our souls are expanding in so many ways. It is expanding so great, and you can't even conceive the expansion. And so we all came here for a reason. We all came here for the expansion. And I think that's what they wanted to relay and what they wanted to instill and activate within you through these videos. So I hope you found it useful. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for your support. Remember that we are all energy of oneness, joined together in our open hearts. In oneness we are Abe. Oneness and love be with you.